Okay, good evening. Welcome to this regular scheduled business meeting of the Summersville City Council on this 14th day of April 2025. I'd like to welcome all of our guests tonight. Got a big agenda, so we'll get right to it. The first item on the agenda is the consideration of the council minutes of the meeting we held on March 24th of 2025.
Move to approve and waive the reading.
Council, we have a first and second. Are there any changes or amendments to the minutes as they were presented in your packet? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion so carries. Did anybody sign up that's not on the agenda to speak?
I don't think so.
Okay, so everybody's on the agenda. Is anybody in here that wants to speak in public comment? Okay, the next item on the agenda is the 25-26 Summersville City Council grant presentations. I will tell you that a week ago we had 10 other grantees in here, and tonight we finish up. I will respectfully ask you when you're called to come to the podium and give us somewhere between a 3 and 5 minute overview of your program. And the other thing I would respectfully ask, unless you've got an emergency that you have to get out of here for, I would prefer that you would stay till all presentations are finished and then we can all leave together, unless you're interested in staying for the rest of the council meeting. So moving right along, the first on the agenda is the Bread of Life. They have requested $5,000, and here to speak for the Bread of Life is Joan Stewart. Welcome, Joan.
Hi, thank you, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Bread of Life Food Pantry. It's an ecumenical endeavor. It involves all the churches, many churches in this community, and has since the 1980s actually. It now is located in its own building. It's behind the Presbyterian Church. The pantry serves approximately 250 families each month. The board of directors is made up of people from 3 different churches. There are about 30 volunteers that represent multiple churches that work in there each week. Part of the Ministry of Outreach of this food pantry is the backpack program. And this backpack program started in 2013. Packing bags, and for now it's about 70 to 75 students at Zila Elementary School. The bags are delivered on Thursdays so the children can take them home on Fridays. They include snacks like fruit cups, pudding cups, peanut butter crackers, Pop-Tarts, granola bars, oatmeal packets, meat products, that kind of thing. And the budget for this is about $750 to $800 a month, which comes to, in 9.5 months, about $8,000. The pantry is requesting $5,000. Have any of you tried to buy snack foods lately? The price is going up, and it seems like snack food's more than eggs. We would like to request that, and we count on donations for the food items as well as offerings that support the growing budget. So we do hope to receive a grant to support this project.
Thank you. Council, any questions? Thank you, Joan.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is LoveWorks, and here to speak on behalf of LoveWorks is Bert Gross, and they are also asking for a $5,000 grant. Welcome, Bert.
Thank you. LoveWorks is an outreach program of the Memorial United Methodist Church, and it was started back in the 1980s. It's all volunteers that work, and they do daily needs, which is cleaning supplies, personal hygiene items. They give out toilet paper, paper towels, baby diapers, toothpaste, toothbrushes, bath soap. And they can come once each 90 days. They're open on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 to 12. And the first quarter this year we purchased over $6,400 in supplies. And they've referred 476 to her Bread of Life food pantry. They screen them at LoveWorks to send them on down. And then they've had 229 clients for the daily needs. And they've been seeing a lot of widows, single moms, foster parents, grandparents raising grandchildren, and that's to assist them with their income level. Now, just 1 week in April, they've already had 58 clients. So think that pretty well covers it.
Council, any questions? Okay, thank you, Bert.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is the Nicholas County Health Department, and speaking on behalf of the Health Department is Glisten Mason. Did I say that right?
You did.
All right.
I'm Glisten Mason. I'm the Prevention Education Lead for the Nicholas County Health Department. I have been for almost a whole month now. I'm also the project coordinator for the Integrated Community Engagement, or the ICE Collaborative, which is brand new to Nicholas County. We're asking for $5,300 in funding to secure a successful year one of a long-term systematic approach to the prevention of substance misuse among the youth of Summersville. Our project aims to collaborate with the Board of Education to administer evidence-based prevention education and resources to students and community members in Summersville. The ICE project coordinator, which is me, will lead the initiative promoting community engagement, delivering targeted education, and facilitating access to resources, ultimately strengthening the overall health and well-being of the community. By partnering with local agencies, the West Virginia Prevention Research Center, and the WV School of Public Health, we can connect researchers, providers, policymakers, and community members to strategize on how best to support youth in the domains where they operate, family and school, with their peers, and during their leisure time. This anonymous and confidential data is gathered annually through surveys taken in the fall by students in the 7th through 12th grades. That's every student from 7th to 12th grade in Nicholas County. The data assists in securing funding for impactful youth-centered programs and for altering the environment surrounding youth to decrease risky behaviors specific to these communities. Delaying the initiation of substance use by even 1 year or 2 has been demonstrated to decrease the likelihood of substance use disorder or addiction later in life, and also increase the probability of graduating from high school. The need for this project is evidenced by rising substance misuse rates and mental health issues among youth. According to recent U.S. Census data, Nicholas County's population under 18 years of age makes up 20.3% of the population, or just under 5,000 people. This project will prevent and reduce substance misuse among Nicholas County youth and address risk factors by facilitating youth-centered data collection activities. The project addresses a critical need for improved public health outreach and coordination to tackle pressing community health challenges, including chronic disease, substance use disorders, and mental health issues. We're estimating this project will have significant positive impact on around 400 citizens of Summersville, 300 students, and 100 adults, and additional citizens of the community. So we're asking for a commitment from you this evening to spend less than $14 a person, for whom we can create positive outcomes with the education and programs that will come from the ICE Collaborative.
Okay. Council, any questions? Just one question. Is this basically a substance abuse program? Is that what?
So the ICE Collaborative is really, it's almost the culmination of all of the preventative measures that we've been kind of throwing at prevention, trying to educate our youth and persuade them to not go that route and not try drugs. So it's based on the Icelandic prevention model, which is in Iceland in the 90s, they saw a huge issue with teenage pregnancy, with alcohol abuse, smoking specifically. And what they did was they collaborated with all of the communities, got people from sectors of businesses, policymakers, and did a lot of data-driven research. And they ended up realizing that these children needed access to activities and programs that were not available to them at the time. They really focused on what Iceland provided. So they opened up skiing to them. They opened up programs for rock climbing. They opened up programs for water sports and that kind of thing. And in 20 years, they've done now 20 years of this research in Iceland, and they have seen dramatic decreases in teenage pregnancy, smoking, alcohol use. So now this collaborative, this study started in Fayette County and Wyoming County in 2019. The first 3 years of that study has just been published, and they've seen a dramatic decrease as well. Their funding continues and their work continues in those counties, and we really want to bring that success here in Nicholas County.
Okay.
That's a new program?
It's a new program from Nicholas County. Yeah, it's been in Fayette and Wyoming counties for 6 years now. This is the 6th year they've had it.
Okay, council, I will review the depth of this, and this possibly would qualify for our opioid funding that we have. It sounds like a program that we could potentially find out of that and not out of this. I'll review that. Okay. Any other questions, council? Okay, you can continue at the podium because you've got the next spot too, and that's the Nicholas Intervention
Do you
Coalition.
want me to leave and then come back
No,
in?
you don't have to. You did a great job. For being on the job for 30 days, you already did a great job on the first one.
You got to get another shirt on.
Yeah, I should. Well, I'll just like button this up or go grab a coat from Lost and Found. So for the next one, I am representing the Nicholas Intervention Coalition, or NIC. We are an alliance of dedicated community partners working across prevention, intervention, treatment, and recovery. We aim to create a healthier, more resilient Nicholas County by tackling substance abuse from every angle, so not just prevention. We're here today requesting $10,000 in funding to support our subcommittees that currently receive little or no funding, specifically those focused on intervention, treatment, recovery, and youth engagement. Our federal grants restrict us to primary prevention activities, which are those in the schools and directed toward youth. But that's leaving critical gaps in our ability to serve the whole person and the whole community. With your support, we will host public forums connecting residents to intervention services and also launch healing events like Camp Comfort Zone, which if you're not familiar with Camp Comfort Zone, it's a camp for children who've lost a parent to addiction. We will be advocating for expanded youth treatment option. We'll raise awareness of those needs and provide opportunities for further training for treatment providers. We'll organize a safe and substance-free 4th of July sober event, which those events are so critical, especially for very early treatment. We'll promote Save a Life Day and support homeless outreach. And finally, empower our local youth by sending them to national leadership training in Nashville. This is building the next generation of prevention champions. This investment will strengthen each of our subcommittees, which is intervention, treatment, recovery, and youth engagement, allowing them to deliver targeted programs that meet our community's evolving needs, whether creating safe spaces for grieving youth, building recovery-friendly events, or developing young leaders. Each subcommittee plays a vital role in supporting the whole person. We will measure our success through sign-in sheets and participation data, helping us track the number of individuals reached and the impact of our engagement efforts. In return, we will publicly acknowledge the City Council's support at every event and in every program made possible. Together, we can shift the culture in our community, from one of crisis to one of connection, healing, and hope. That's it.
You're flipping pages. I didn't know if you had a second
Now she
page.
breathes.
Okay, thank you, Glisten, and of course, the request for the NIC was 10,000. Council, that also may qualify for opioid funding. I will say that the NIC director that was hired last week, the county and the city are co-ing that to pay for the executive director for the NIC out of that funding. So we can also look at this one too from a standpoint of that same funding. Okay? Did a great job.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
Lisa.
I appreciate it.
Okay, next is the Nicholas Old Main Foundation. We have with us tonight Rhonda White. Welcome, Rhonda. And their request is for $7,188.
Okay, Nicholas O. Main Foundation is rebranding itself, and we want to be known as the Arts and Heritage Center in Summersville. So keep that in mind. We're working hard, not just to preserve our heritage, but to look forward to the future as well. Our request is for $7,100 And the reason is that we have no heat in the most usable part of our building. We have no heat in our kitchen, our dining room, the men's restroom, or the women's restroom. I think we all see the need for those. In our building, we service probably 25 to 30 people every day, 5 days a week. We are open on Saturdays for some yoga classes, but we have a growing population of people visiting our building every day. And it's harder and harder with the bad winters like we had this year to keep everything going with the parts of our building that we need to use. The $7,100, we have a gas furnace in the basement that services heat for I said basement, ground floor, for the ground floor and also for the auditorium. The third floor is not heated at all. The second floor is partially heated. The basement is partially heated. We have the gas furnace on the ground floor that we will run lines through walls that are in places 24 inches thick solid stone. Gas lines into the kitchen, into the dining room, where we'll put heaters in both of those rooms, and then we'll put a heater in the hallway by the men's room and the women's restroom. We only have one of each in the entire 3-story building. So having very cold rooms is very uncomfortable and almost makes that part of the building unusable in the wintertime. I do want to point out a difference in our budget that occurred between last year and this year, so it may be a little confusing to you. Last year we lumped everything together, so it was hard to tell what monies were coming in for what and what we were expending for what. So we revamped that so that everything will be tracked, and all of our monies for an individual grant will go against the expenditures for that grant, and we can tell at the end of the year how much we need to spend or how much we need to raise to cover the expenditure and so forth. The reason I point that out is that our new budget looks like we have a little bit of an overage in there, about 15,000, 16,000. But we really don't, because some of the grants for last year were carried over in that generic total. For example, the city gave us money to buy defibrillators. They were not purchased till after January, and they're in that lump sum. But we purchased them, they're up on the walls on all 3 floors and so forth. We also had about $11,000 carryover in a window project that's not finished. So basically, here's the bottom line. We are very fiscally responsible, and we get our operating budget from our tenants. And it's just about zero. In other words, we meant it to be that way to balance out our budget. If we do any improvements to the building, we have to have either write a grant, have a fundraiser, get donations. We have to get it from somewhere. It's not any extra money in our budget. So we're asking the city to help us make the building more usable, more comfortable to our guests, and we appreciate your help from last year. We're training people on the defibrillators right now, so your money is being put to good work to the citizens of Summersville.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions? Okay, thank you, Rhonda, appreciate it. Okay, next is Sewell Mountain Sailing Association of West Virginia, and with us tonight we have Bob Richards. Welcome, Bob.
Good evening to all of you. Some of you know a little bit about Sewell Mountain Sailing, but if you don't mind, I'll recap just briefly. This year at Summersville Lake, we'll be holding our 15th Mountain Mama Hospice Regatta. Those regattas have so far allowed us to give over $120,000 to Hospice of Southern West Virginia. Something we're fairly proud of. Like any organization though, we run into hiccups from time to time. We give most of our money away, and that leaves us very little for operating expenses, and especially for things that come up like rough winters. And this winter was no exception to that. We had a lot of damage done by high winds, etc., most of which we think we can cover ourselves with the help of the members of the club and some donations from within. However, as our focus is twofold, charity, i.e. hospice, and teaching the youth and others of West Virginia how to sail, and to do that free. And so far we've been very fortunate, over 600 participants. I can't even tell you how many boats have been bought and sold and so forth because of that. And hopefully some of these young people will find something to do other than stand on a street corner somewhere. Because once you get into sailing, it's magic. It really is. And I say that from my heart. Okay. Number one problem for us this year is the pond. This is a training facility we have set up to teach folks in small boats. That pond has been an ongoing problem. We finally come to the conclusion that if we're going to keep enough water in the pond, we have to repair properly the spillway. We've gone to a couple of different contractors, had them come in, look at it, etc. Believe me, we've tried on our own with no success. But we found someone who knows ponds, understands the dynamics that are involved here, and is willing to do it for us for roughly $2,500. And that then is what we are hoping that you will give us to do this work. Any questions, gentlemen?
Any questions? Okay, Bob, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
Okay, next is Summersville Christmas Store. Here to speak on their behalf is Lydia Young. Welcome, Lydia.
Thank you for having me this evening. I would, first and foremost, would like to thank the city for sponsoring our grant last year and always in the past. You all have been great supporters of this project. But I'm here this evening to present the 25-26 grant, and I'm sorry about my voice. I haven't been very well over the weekend. The Summersville Christmas Store was held this year on December 3rd at the Arena and Conference Center, and we were able to assist 120 families. The applications are distributed starting in September through the DHHR, the WIC office, Dr. Tomshaw's office, Head Start, the Nicholas County Board of Education, the Health Department, as well as various ads that are put in the Nicholas Chronicle and social media. An electronic application has been launched this past year so that families can apply online. Our volunteers shop for the toys and the gifts in mid-November, and the store is set up so that the children can get one gift per parent or guardian that is valued at $15, and the children or the parents select gifts for the children valued at $65, and they get 2 gifts per child. The volunteers help the children and the parents navigate through the store, and also we have volunteer wrappers, so every child and family leaves with their presents wrapped that evening. The children also enjoyed a visit with Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus, and was given a bag of candy, and each family also received a tin of cookies this year. And the past couple of years we've involved Save the Children, and they're there with a table set up, and the children have access to books to take home that are age appropriate for their grade levels. The Summersville Christmas Store has been impacting our community for 40-plus years, which speaks volumes to its success. It brings our community together for one goal, which is to provide Christmas to poverty-level families who may not otherwise have one. This project is successful due to the generous grants like I'm asking this evening, private donations, and also the time of 75-plus volunteers that range from high school students to senior citizens who work together that one evening. It's pretty busy that one night, but it delivers a positive message for everybody involved. I don't think anybody leaves without having a full heart that night. Our budget is approximately $30,000, and we understand right now we've had a lot of hard economic times that we all face, and there's all kinds of worthy grants that I'm hearing this evening, but we do feel like this is a much needed service for our community, because regardless of an income level, we do feel that every child deserves to have a gift to open on Christmas morning. And I do appreciate your time this evening and your consideration for the Summersville Christmas Store grant. Are there any questions?
Questions? Okay, thank you, Lydia. I don't remember if I announced or not, but the request for the Christmas store was $5,000. Okay, next up is Summersville Public Library, Natalie Siebel, and requesting $2,500.
Hello, everyone. I feel like I need to introduce myself. I am Natalie Siebel, and I'm the new director at Summersville Public Library, so I'm kind of the new kid on the block here. But one of the things the library has as a central goal is to really work on our community outreach. We really want to have a more public-facing, easy access to the library kind of persona. And so we've been working really hard lately. We start with the little ones. It's a little easier. We have them in there a lot. But we really want to do what the library's role is in a community, which is to provide easy and free access to important resources and educational opportunities. And so the project that we are asking for the grant for is a life skills project. And what that would involve is a monthly project that would last for a year. And each month we would have a specific speaker, workshop leader, someone to come in, and they would talk about specific life skills that students don't typically get to study in high school. For example, even things like how to balance a checkbook, how to make a budget, how to write a resume, how to get a car loan, things like this that, you know, young adults, and the program would be specifically focused for, in my mind, you know, juniors, seniors, even early college, or adults who need a new job. They, you know, want to improve their job seeking skills and gather some, you know, information on how to go about improving their lives. And so that's the genesis of it. The library really believes that educated citizens are capable citizens, and access to these free workshops could be really, really important for them. The grant money itself would be broken down into, firstly, stipends for the speakers to help just cover their travel time and costs and things like that. And then the curriculum needs that we would have for the specific workshops, workbooks. We want to do a book giveaway. It's a life skills book that includes all kinds of information that we would go over in addition to other information that could help people and prepare them for their lives. We hope to offer some decent refreshments to people and make it an evening that they can come and learn, you know, discuss, and also access other library resources that we have there to help them with their goals. And so to finish off, the Life Skills Project has a goal to offer continuing education for adults in our community so the participants are better prepared for work opportunities, further educational opportunities, better financial health, and more satisfying life experiences. We hope to increase the knowledge of both soft and hard skills that are needed for employment in today's world and to support community members in their daily lives.
Thank you. Council, any questions? Okay, thank you, Natalie. Okay, next up is VFW Post 6106, and here to speak on their behalf tonight is Newt McCutcheon. Welcome, Newt.
Hey, good evening. Originally, it was supposed to be Debbie Tompkins that came and addressed you guys this evening, but her husband had heart surgery today. He's doing okay. And so I kind of just going to fill in the gap here. But my name's Newt McCutcheon. I am from VFW Post 6106. I'm also the president of the Nicholas County Veterans Council. All right, and I'm also a member of the American Legion Post 131 here in Summersville. The purpose of this brief, gotta get my glasses here, guys. Time's caught up with me. Yeah, the purpose of this brief is to provide you with an overview of the Nicholas County Veterans Museum and to demonstrate the need for financial assistance by means of a grant for $5,000. Museum custodians, the primary custodian will be us, the VFW 6106. The alternate will be the Nicholas County Veterans Council. So we are both 501c3s. We do a lot of good stuff for great Americans. We do. Some of the milestones that we have achieved thus far includes we were having a Veterans Barbecue at the Memorial Park back in August, and Debbie brought in a paper in which this gentleman, he's 85 years old, retired Air Force, same retired master sergeant, I believe is what he was, E7, and he has had a tremendous amount of military memorabilia. I mean, tremendous amount. And we looked at it, me, Debbie, Jimmy Moyer, who's the commander of the VFW, Jack Omendinger of the American Legion, and we said we can't let this get away. We need to take it. So nobody had applied to him to get this, and so we did, and we got it. In October, we drove down to Madison. Myself, Debbie Tompkins, and her husband, rented a U-Haul, drove down to Madison where there is no room to turn, and that's the truth. But anyhow, we made it, and we got everything. And this is great stuff. I'm telling you, historical stuff. Military weaponry that's been demilled. Now some do still function. The bolt actions still function. But for instance, we have a Browning Light 30-06 air-cooled machine gun. We have a 81 millimeter mortar tube. We've got a bazooka. All this has been demilled. And we have a Thompson 45, again demilled. It's been chopped. So you can't use it. Non-operational. But the bolt action rifles do function. But we just took care of that. We just bought a safe. And currently the weapons are at my house in a gun safe locked up. So, but Friday, we went over to Park Center Sporting Goods, the Veterans Council. We purchased a safe for the museum, and they gave us a good deal. So that's where the weapons are headed. As of February, we established a board of directors, okay? And that board includes myself, Bill Waters, Steve Postlethwaite, John Snyder, Jim Moyer, Craig Brown, Ed Hawkins, who's from Richwood, Debbie Tompkins, who's the administrator, and Dr. William Carson, who's the advisor. As of February 2025, we transported all the items, conducted a thorough inventory of all the items, and we identified a need for lumber, which we were fortunate enough to get through Columbia. People really been giving, and that's a great thing. But we needed the lumber to buy display cases. We looked, and online, these things are extremely expensive. Well, we've got some combat engineers, and those guys can build it, and they did a damn fine job. March, we began a deep cleaning and painting of the office area that we secured from Doc Carson, 2,400 square feet. It's where the old Radio Shack used to be. And we also began to build the display cases. As of April, we created a layout for the museum. When you walk in, it will be early war to your left. All right. we've got some pre-Civil War stuff at this point, and it'll go Civil War, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, the Gulf War until present. Again in April, we conducted a fundraiser which was successful, and that's an ongoing issue for us. We'll continue to fight the good fight doing that. As long as you get out there and do your part, you can raise money. We're getting ready to start a yearly sponsorship program where the veterans, the family members of deceased veterans, can make a pledge on an annual basis, and we bring the money in, and we just keep it running that way right there. We know we're not going to produce a lot, but our ultimate goal is just to honor great Americans. Some of you, you're all great Americans. You're conducting, you're doing the business of the people. But I see a few great Americans right there. You know, the veterans, everybody. I thank you for your service too. The end goal is to go operational by the 22nd of May. Okay, 22nd of May, our specific objectives right there are we want to go down there, road too small. The specific objectives include preservation of historical items. We want to create an educational opportunity for the youth and members of our community. We want to establish a place of honor and patriotism for veterans and their family members. And finally, community pride. This concludes my brief. What are your questions?
Any questions? Council, I will tell you that when this initially came to be, the gentleman that donated the collection to Nicholas County, I had some conversation with him, and when it initially came in, he donated to the city and the veterans. Clearly it was alarming to me when I got the inventory list, and like, how are we gonna add all this weaponry to our... So we did get together, actually here in the city building, and make a call to him, and he was very gracious. I told him that the city certainly supported the concept of his donation to the veterans so that we could hopefully keep them in perpetuity forever in a museum. But, and then he did recant his original donation letter and said, sent me another letter that said clearly his intent was to donate them to the veterans. So exciting enough, Veterans Museum here in Nicholas County. It's your new location, gonna open Memorial Day. That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Is that gonna be up at Dr. Carson's?
Yeah.
It is in Doc Carson's building there. So it's where the old Radio Shack used to be. We've got a lot of stuff. For instance, I would like to tell you this. He gave us one weapon, a Smith Corona, 1903 A3. You know how much a weapon is worth? That specific weapon is $3,400. I mean, it's amazing. And he had nobody to lead us to. His grandson, who killed a deer with a .30 carbine, died. We didn't ask any probing questions, but he was the only one in the family who showed any type of interest in his grandfather's life. So,
Why Nicholas County?
do what?
Why?
Why Nicholas County? Why not, sir? We're not trying to put
I
the
just wondered
old
what the
main
connection
museum.
was.
Yeah,
What the connection was.
yeah. I don't know why. I guess we were the only ones that asked for it, you know? But we're not trying to put the old main museum out of business. That's not the idea. We're just trying to,
Have a couple places.
have a nice place to let the veteran go to. And hopefully, we just want to take pride in the community, you know? But
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, and of course, that request was for $5,000. Moving right along, Wally Squadron. We've got Buck Hamrick here tonight. Welcome, Buck.
I was told there was one after me and I couldn't believe it. Usually get to be last. I am Buck Hamrick with Wally Squadron, and this will make our 34th attempt at having a RC air show fly in Nicholas County. We're located at Phillips Run. We've been there for 32 of our 34 years. I'm here solely for entertainment and tourism. That's what we do. We put on an air show that people come from all over the East Coast. We've had some from Canada. One guy that he returns every year because he has to come here to work is actually from Australia, but he makes it a point to come to our show. We normally have anywhere from 180 to 210 registered pilots and their families, and then we'll have 1,500, 2,000 spectators, local people come through. We're August the 13th through the 16th this year. On Saturday, we feed anybody and everybody that shows up hot dogs all day for free. Saturday night, we have a fireworks display that rivals the city's, not in size, but just in ingenuity, I'll put it that way, because we fly lighted aircraft through them and have contests see if we can blow them up. So. And it's fun. With the monies that we raise, you can see from our expenditures that we turn in every year, we don't keep any. We've got a little bit of carryover this year, which paid our power bills and stuff, and water and sewage and garbage and that kind of thing. But any monies that we have left over, last 2 years, we've done a United Way Christmas tree to be auctioned off at their Wonderland of Trees. And we put the money into that, and then they raise money that way. So everything we do goes back to the community in one way or the other. I like to think that it draws a lot of business from the restaurants and motels and campgrounds and everything else. And we think we've got a pretty good show. I don't know how many, I know a few of you have been there, but I'd like to see y'all up there because it is a lot of fun. It's good family entertainment, it's educational. We've had a couple of guys that started out as youngsters flying the models and got into aviation. We have one that's well, right now he's a lead mechanic for Bombardier in Clarksburg. It's now Mitsubishi, working on airliners, so it can lead to a pretty good career and a wonderful hobby and wonderful entertainment. Yeah. But we've requested $1,000, and it would be very beneficial to us. One of our big attractions, or big financial helps, was the Woods and Water Show, which we didn't have this year, so we didn't get to do any raffles or anything for that, but we'll make it.
Okay, council, any questions? Okay, thanks, Buck, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, last but not least, the small straw.
So with Wally Squadron and us asking for money reminds me of when I was stationed in Ohio, the old couple, Ethel and Frank, they used to be, they'd take planes out and fly over their farmland, and it cost $50. And Frank and Ethel, they would go to the show and watch, and Frank really wanted to do it, and so they went up and it was $50. And so Ethel said, well, you know, Frank, $50 is $50. Frank would shrug his shoulders down, and poor farmers at the time, and they'd walk off. And so, you know, he circled back around one more time, and she said, you know, $50 is $50, don't you, Frank? He said, I do. So the airplane pilot saw him kind of discussing this, and he'd seen him come by a few other times, and so he said, you know, he was slow, and he said, I'll tell you what, I'll take you up, and I'll take you around your farm, and if neither one of you say a word to one another, it's free. But if not, it's $50. And so they were on that, because an older couple, they had spent some time not talking to each other at once. So he takes them up and flies them around and shows them the farm, and they're in awe, but they're quiet. And he got to thinking, I got to get my $50 out of this couple. So he takes that plane down, and he does a couple roller coaster downs and flips and turns, and he notices they don't say anything, so he goes ahead and lands it and thought, well, I lost my $50. So he looked back at Frank and he said, Frank, I was for sure you all would say something when I did those twisters through there. And Frank said, well, he said, you know, I about did when Ethel fell out back there. But you know what? $50 is $50. So I come to you tonight. If we look at West Virginia University Extension, we are always about partnerships, and you all have partnered with us in various trips that we've made to help the community. And one that we have a big national partnership with and a local is called the Progressive Safety Day, Progressive Agriculture Safety Day. And a lot of you are familiar with that. And so this is a partnership that's sponsored nationwide by these big companies, and one you may recognize is Polaris and John Deere and Cargill. So what they do is they provide the kids with that goodie bag there, and then every kid will get a t-shirt of some kind that has some kind of safety theme on it. And we partner with them, with the Nicholas County Board of Education, to pull all the third graders into this one-day event in the fall at the Memorial Park, Nicholas County Veterans Memorial Park, to educate the youth about fire safety, sun safety, tractor safety, lawnmower, ATV safety, and sun safety. Did I mention that? But the one that we have partnered with you all on is we want to make sure the local partners are the Nicholas County Farm Bureau, of course the Nicholas County Board of Education, my shop, WVU Extension, and we pull volunteers in to teach these sessions. So they're like 10-minute sessions that each third grader in the county will rotate through to learn about all these different topics. And one that we partner with you all on is we want to make sure that we send every kid home with a smoke detector. And in the past, you all have helped us, and that's what I'm requesting with this request, is to put the money toward these smoke detectors and a first aid kit to send home with each of these kids. They'll be taught how to put these up, put a fire plan together if there happens to be a fire at their home, where they can all attend safely to get out of the fire truck's way or any other emergency services. And it's the tune, I think I asked for $3,000. I'm going to be real honest with you, is I go to Lowe's and I say, look, I need X amount. I find out how many kids are in third grade that year. I need X amount. Cut me your best deal. And then I bring that to you, and I always stay under my budget. You get what I'm saying? So I've asked for $3,000, but I'll spend just whatever they cost.
Brian, your actual request is for 5.
This is for 5?
It's for 5.
Okay.
Did you cut it already?
I already cut it. Let's see, what is
There's a lot of smiles in there, Brian.
Yeah. What is it? Slashing them deep is what I'm doing. Slashing it deep.
And he does, counsel. He goes and gets a deal at Lowe's if he gets a grant, when he has got them in the past, and then we pay the invoice directly to Lowe's.
Yeah. So the city actually pays that directly. So, Annabeth, thanks. Annabeth helped me out on that. So,
Okay, counsel, do you have any questions? Okay, it's this time on behalf of this entire body that we want to thank all of you for all the great work you do in the many organizations you represent. And of course, as I mentioned a week ago, there were 10 other organizations before you. Certainly, you know, if we could, we would fund all of you to every dollar it is you're requesting. But these 8 people here have the tough decisions to make on what we're going to fund, and know that they don't make them on one being better than the other. They just, in their hearts, do the best they can from the standpoint of how can we make our dollars maximize great benefit in our community. You all do good benefit, you all do great benefit, but sometimes it really gets tough because I think this year we had in excess, somewhere close to $100,000 worth of requests. And unfortunately, this program just does not bring that kind of dollars to the table. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for the great work you do in our community, serving the community. And at this time, you're welcome to leave if you would like to leave. Thank you all.
Mr. Shaw, thank you. Good to see you. Being here, buddy. Appreciate it. There's a familiar face right there. Okay. Good to meet you.
Bob, good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thanks,
And
Bob.
of course, good guy.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. Appreciate it.
How you doing, man? Good to meet you. We missed one tonight, huh?
Yep, he's actually on vacation.
Oh, well, for the work you do, thank you, all of you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, approval of the City of Summersville CDBG Midstorm Project. We've got two actual requests, council. The first one is a time extension request, and the second one is notice of intent to bid. And we're gonna ask John and Amanda, John Tuggle and Amanda Smar from Region 4 to come to the podium and give us an overview of what we got before us.
Okay, thank you, Mayor, and first off, I want to apologize for my phone, I was looking at that storm, and I must have hit some ad or something, because my phone's off, oh my God, but anyway, that ad, sorry about that, I hate that. Well, all I want to do, Amanda's going to give you the nuts and bolts of where you are right now. I want to give you a little background, because I know you guys have caught some complaints and so forth because of the timing of this stuff. Just a little background on it. This all originated with the 2016 flood. That's where all the money came from in the beginning. And it was a pot of money that is generated when you have a huge flood. Let me back up. When you have a declared flood by FEMA, 15% of it goes to mitigation, meaning projects are supposed to stop flooding somehow. In general, most of our floods or our disasters aren't big enough to have a pot of money to do the things we're doing now with that money. We were awarded $56 million in one day. If you remember, Mayor, the governor went around and was giving around all over the place. Usually that's not the case. Usually that money's spent on raising houses and getting them out of floodplain. That's not. So this pot of money was generated like that. And back when it first happened, probably within the first 6 months, dealing with a lot of FEMA people, which we were right up in the thick of it, one of those guys told me, he says, there's mitigation money. And on this project, there's going to be enough to do some fairly decent sized projects. He says, I'm telling you, this will be he was being honest with me, he said, it'll be 5 years before they award this money. It was awarded in 21. That's number one. That's why it took so long to get there. Once it's awarded, it's HUD money. And it's HUD's CDBG money. And normally those things take about 5 years to get through the hoops. I mean, that's our normal, that's our experience with those things. When you start them, it takes about 5 years to go through all the stuff you have to go through to get there. There's tons of minutiae. I could go into all the details, but you would just say, I don't believe it, and go on and go home, because it really is unbelievable. That's why that it's taking this long. And it's not on you guys. I want to make sure that everybody knows that. It's not on you. You were the applicant. We came to you with the opportunity. If you remember, we came to the mayor and said, you got anywhere, because you're eligible for some money that you can put towards some drainage issues. And he came up with the culvert out there. And therefore we jumped in and put the application in, got awarded, and then it takes a long time to go through it. That's not anything on you guys. You guys did everything possible you could do to make this move forward. We did everything we could do possible to make this thing move forward. It's the way the federal government works on these type projects. I just want to lay that foundation.
Thank you, John.
So to give a little bit of additional detail, you have two items on the agenda. The first one's the time extension, so we'll address that one first. So the time extension, as John mentioned, the project was originally awarded in 2021. The period of performance ended this year, so this is time extension, extends this project to 2027. And in order to do that, we have to do that in order to keep the flow of the funds and to be able to complete the project. So it's a very common procedure that we have to go through. Actually, all of the CDBG MIT projects that we currently have to have a time extension.
There's 12 of them.
There's 12.
And they all are getting time extensions.
Yeah, so you're not the only one. It's across the board. Typically, what we see is 1 year extensions, and they actually extended them 2 years, probably because they know of the requirements that we have to go through. So that's what the time extension will suffice. It'll take care of all of that.
So, any questions on that one first?
No, let's go ahead and put it in the form of a motion.
So moved.
Got a first? Second? Any council, any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion so carries.
Okay, the second item that you had on here was a notice of intent to bid. So because we've already been through the environmental public comment period, we sent all that to the state, we have a notice to proceed with construction activities, so we're knocking on the door of construction. We have to have approval from the state to bid the project, or to put the project out to bid, so you'll get some proposals from contractors and things like that. That's what this notice of intent to bid is. Currently, so in the document that you have in front of you, the projected dates are May 28th for the bid opening and June 10th for the award of contracts. Those are, they could change depending on when we get approval from the state, but we don't expect them to have much of a difference from that, depending on when we finally get approval. But we'll send these documents up to the state. Once we get their approval, we'll get the advertisements to bid in the paper. We'll get ready for the construction portion.
I do want to say, out of those 12, 6 are on the same path that you guys are on. They're right ready to bid now.
Yeah.
2 of them have been bid like 2 months ago. And the other ones, they're down the road. One of them's even like next year. So that, there's not any of them that's way ahead of you at all. You're actually right into the thick of things.
Okay, council, I'll move, or I'll ask for a motion to approve the notice of intent to bid.
So moved.
Got a first and a second, are there any questions? The only thing I would like to say on top of what John and Amanda have said, certainly, council, I want you to know, I am in regular contact with our Kentucky Road friends. And it's hard for anybody to understand and comprehend that you get money to do a project in 21 and you're in 25 and you're still scratching and kicking and fighting and biting to make it happen. And quite frankly, I was told that they were going to be here this evening. They are not, and could come up to a later council meeting. But I've told them, totally transparent on this, even to the extent that they asked for documents, and I had a city employee drive a FOIA request to them to retrieve these documents. And again, it's as frustrating. I feel their frustration, and actually, if I check my phone, I probably might even have more pictures and more text. We as a team are doing everything we can do. And, if there's anything to be frustrated at, it's our federal government system and requirements. And because in all honesty, it shouldn't be this way. It shouldn't be that monies are appropriated in 2021 and in 2025, you're praying to go to bid. So tonight is an exciting night because we've got the intent to go to bid and all the details are in the document that we just approved. But I want to convey one more time to our fine citizens that live on Kentucky Road. I hear you. I understand you. I certainly encourage you to call anybody you want to call, and I've told them that all along. I don't keep you from calling anybody. Transparent. There's something we've got that you think we're not doing right, you come to us. Again, there will be a day, hopefully, in the near future that this project will be under construction and bring them some resolve when it rains and they flood every time we have a rain. So, Amanda and John, always your partnership in Region 4, we couldn't do it without you. And I know you shared the frustration with us. Again, let's just hope we can get the approval now to go to bid and get this thing out to bid and get the construction project underway. So
one thing I'd like to add, Mayor, is that this is a reimbursable program, like many of the federal programs. That money is nowhere around us.
Yes.
Right now. The only way you get that money is it is being spent on what it was applied for.
Yeah.
And that is vetted by, once you go to construction, by your engineer and us before it goes anywhere, and then it's vetted one more time at the state level. And so that's going to go, that money has to go towards what was applied for.
Yeah.
So there's no other way to get that money. It's not laying anywhere where we can get our hands on it. until the contractor digs it, starts digging.
Yes, and John, I'm glad you brought that up, because council, you can imagine what I've been accused of doing with this money. But I would also like to say, now that you said that, John, that, first of all, Kentucky Road is a state road. There was a remedy many, many years ago, even before this project, that we wanted to do, and we were not allowed to do because the state told us what you're gonna do will make things worse. And so, you know, they constantly ask, well, why can't you come and do this, and why can't you come and do that? We can't, it's a state road. I told them that, you know, totally transparent, we've done nothing wrong. I have nothing, you know, I have nothing that I can't sleep on at night, but if I get out there and start messing with the state road, you might find me in an orange suit. I mean, I just can't do that, it's illegal. And then the other thing that I know has been confusing to them, when we talk about sidewalk projects in the park, in the visitor center, they don't understand why we can do those things, but we can't get this done. Totally separate pot of money, totally separate rules and regulations and standards you have to meet. The environmental on this project was huge and cumbersome. So, you know, just want to convey to them, again, our friends on Kentucky Road, because I certainly understand their frustration. All of that stuff, you know, that's apples and oranges, and I continue to tell them that. They're different projects, different funding, and we as a city cannot just go out there and do what needs to be done on Kentucky Road. It's a state road.
And that's a good point on the permitting. You're on track, just like Alderson's one that's actually going to construction right now, they're starting to dig. You've been on that same track, but the permitting for the highway crossing lagged like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
It took a while to get through it, so
Yeah.
that's, they're usually on the same track as the first guys out.
Yeah. Okay, with that said, we got a first and a second, and this is to approve the notice of intent to bid. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion so carries. Thank you all. Thanks for coming.
Appreciate it. Thank you. This, what you did earlier, that's great, man. You guys are doing great stuff.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, council, the next item on the agenda is approval of Webster Road Sidewalk Phase 2 agreement. You were provided the critical pages of that agreement. I would just like to highlight for the listening public and our citizens, this is funding through the Division of Highways, and it's actually a Americans with Disabilities Act to encourage sidewalk program and transportation alternatives as appropriate infrastructure investment in the Jobs Act. So we fortunately have been granted another grant, which asked the sponsor to get a qualified consultant, which we have, E.L. Robinson. The engineers on our project are Todd Schoolcraft and Adam Mole. Our grant award was for the sum of $675,000. Which we actually get $540 from the program and calls for $135,000, 20% match on behalf of the city. And so this will start phase 2, which will pick up where the other sidewalk left off, right there in front of Starbuck Road, but of course on the other side of the road, and run us all the way to,
Bowles.
no. I could have told you a million times. No, the street, Gladwell Drive, thank you. Gladwell Drive. This project goes from where we left off to Gladwell Drive. So with that said, I'll entertain a motion.
Where's that?
Yeah, it's actually the street that you would go to get to the Young House in behind, or Gus Rader's house, yeah, back up in there. It'll go all the way to that street.
Almost to the top there.
Yeah. Entertain a motion?
Second.
We got a first and a second. Council, any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion so carries. Reporters report?
No report to see.
Okay, mayor's report, council. I just have a few more things I want to run down. Spring flushing. Our spring flushing is just gonna be half of our system this year, and that's because of the quality of water in the other half. So our spring flushing is gonna be May 5th through 16th, and that's gonna include Phillips Run, Glen Oaks Road, Route 55, Worth, Persinger, Hookersville, Spruce Run, and the Glade Creek area. Those are the areas that will be included in our spring flush that will take place May 5th through May 16th. Council, I also want to let you know that in the month of June this year, we are replacing the telemetry system in our entire water system. We had a sealed bid, and the winning bid was $161,500. This is going to be an awesome thing for the city of Summersville, as a lot of our telemetry is outdated. And still, we've got wonderful operators at our plant that monitor and do and overcome some of the challenges. But at the end of June or sometime thereafter, we should have a completely new telemetry system to measure water levels in our system. So that'll take place in June. Just wanted to give you the information. I want to thank the Summersville Police Department and the Nicholas County Sheriff's Department K-9 Association for holding their annual training here. As many of you know, we were inundated last week with K-9 vehicles. There was actually about 100 different organizations, entities represented in that training, bringing 100 officers and their K-9s. And of course, we were just pleased that both the Summersville Police Department and the Nicholas County Sheriff's Department K-9 officers brought their association here for training. Also, another thing I want to highlight is, you talk about the area and marketing and advertising and just people wanting to come to Summersville. We're going to be the host of not one, not two, but 3 motorcycle groups this year. The first one's going to be the Iron Shields, which are going to hold their national convention here. And this is a law enforcement motorcycle group. And they're estimating that they're going to have about 300 riders. And I have been already informed by some of the organizers that they have already begun to book rooms. They're not just coming for the 4-day event, they're coming for the entire week. So that's good for us. Also, we're going to... When is that, Mayor? It's in June, and I don't have the exact dates. It's in the month of June. And then the Goldwing State Convention is back. We hosted them before, and they went and tried another community, and they said, no, we want to go back to Summersville. So we're going to have them back in July. And then, of course, we're also going to be honored again to partner with the Gold Star Mothers, and be a part of and host their ride, which is in October. And I will tell you that this year their ride will actually start in the city of Summersville. So that's exciting as well. And then, Council, the last thing I have is I received official notification from US Cellular. They are planning to sell all of their wireless operation customers and approximately 30% of its licensed spectrum to T-Mobile. And this is to take place on June 2nd of 2025. And they submitted me a list of stores and areas that will be directly impacted. And when I say impacted, that they will definitely be selling and transferring. It actually, if I didn't say it a minute ago, it's 4,100 employees will be transitioning, and they do, I guess, have the opportunity to go to work for T-Mobile. This takes place June 2nd. And the Summersville Market and the Summersville US Cellular store are affected by this sale. So US Cellular customers in our market will be T-Mobile, as well as the US Cellular store will also be T-Mobile, effective June 2nd. Okay, Council, do you have any questions? Okay, any council comments? Hearing none, Council, I just want to remind you about the laying of the levy tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So if you could, yeah, at 5 o'clock tomorrow night, and of course, as you know, that takes just a few minutes. And we do not need an executive session, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. First and a second, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion so carries. Have a good evening, council. Thank you.